Vanessa, so tell me about your lesson.
Okay, so I decided to teach a lesson about syllable junctures and the actual rules for how you divide a word into its separate syllables, because it's something that I noticed Damien was having a hard time with when we started looking at those multisyllabic words, especially with prefixes and suffixes. So I thought that I should go back and review some of those specific rules to help him, with his word attack skills. So my goal is for him to be able to decode words with the vowel, consonant, vowel syllable types, and that the first syllable is with the long vowel. So an open syllable for the first syllable, and then the second syllable could be any other syllable type. And then also for him to be able to read them in isolation, decode them in isolation, and in context with a controlled text. And also be able to identify them. So get with a sort, be able to say, oh, this one does follow the rule, this one does not follow the rule. So basically I'll start by showing my anchor chart. And I also have an anchor chart for what the different syllable types are. For all the different syllable types, because I have not worked with him on this. I'm not sure what background knowledge he has on it. And they're all in there. And then I was going to use my anchor chart to model marking the syllables. Where is it?
Yeah.
Okay, so mark, I can write on here. So mark scooping, oops. I see that this is a long vowel. Oh, and that one's a long vowel too. And how I would decode that. Then I would guide Damien through completing these steps on the word list in isolation for probably the first 2 words. I was hoping that after those 2 and I forgot to say, how I'm going to guide is I'm going to say, okay, where is the first vowel in the word? Okay, mark that underneath by putting a V. Then, is it a consonant next to it? Yes, mark that with a C. Then, is there a vowel next to it? Yes, okay, so that shows me this is going to divide between the vowel and the consonant.
Good.
And mark my vowel is long.
Okay.
So after he does that on the word list in isolation, then I was going to do the word sort with the words that follow the rule and words that do not. And then finally the controlled reading.
Okay.
With
I saw that. Wonderful.
Rover.
Okay. Just kind of done.
Yes.
Just starting off, tell me a little bit more specifically, do you plan on bringing these anchor charts with the different types of syllables into your instruction? What's your idea with that?
My idea with that is basically but mostly focus on the open syllable.
Okay.
Where showing that here's spider. That has an open syllable in the first syllable. That means that that's where the syllable ends. Nothing's blocking it from saying its name. Therefore, it's long.
Okay.
That probably just this one, because I've seen that he can decode all of the syllable types. I don't know if he can name them, but I don't want to get too complicated and this is R controlled, this is consonant LE, because I really just want him to see that, okay, I can figure out what the first syllable is going to be. I know that most times when I see this pattern, the vowel, consonant, vowel, it's going to be a long vowel in the first syllable.
Good. I want to kind of move right in past the modeling part into your guided practice. Explain to me kind of how that's going to work. I mean, I know you said with the guided practice you're going to be doing the word lists. What's your role? What's his role? Tell me a little about that.
Well, it will be pretty short because I was hoping just to do it for the first 2 words. So I would say, all right, let's go ahead and take a look at the first word. All right, your first step is to find the vowel. Okay, so I would say, okay, find the first vowel in the word. He'll mark it, then I'll guide him.
Okay.
Your next step is to find, is there a consonant next to it? Yes. Next step, is there a vowel next to it? Yes. Okay, do you have the pattern? Yes. So just kind of those like a list of steps almost for him. Then say to him, okay, now let's see, it's going to divide between the first vowel in the consonant.
Okay.
Very good. What does that tell you about this first vowel? Then hopefully he'll respond, oh, it's going to be a long vowel sound.
Okay.
And mark it with, I'll go over really quickly that you mark long vowels with the macron.
Yeah. Good. And so tell me a little bit about kind of the scaffolding, releasing that responsibility to him to identifying everything.
Okay, so after those 2 steps, or those 2 practices, I think he does pick up on things very quickly, and I know he already knows what a vowel and a consonant are.
Okay.
So I feel like once there, just probably maybe even just pointing to the pattern up here might be a clue to mark find the vowel consonant vowel pattern first.
Yes.
I could also, make him a little checklist if need be.
Okay.
Like if I see that he's not doing it automatically, I could just quickly say number 1.
Yeah, I think that.
Find the vowel. Or find the first vowel.
Good.
And go on from there. That way I don't have to keep saying it to him and he can follow it on his own.
Good. So what you're saying is, I think, just that you're going to start off with showing him the markings and everything, and then depending on how he's doing, increase those prompts or hopefully lessen those prompts with the checklist to give him that responsibility. Right.
So maybe start out just by prompting by remember our pattern, what should you do first? And if he's having a really difficult time remembering that, then I can make the list from there.
Okay. And tell me a little about how long do you expect him to mark each word to kind of break apart the vowel and consonant vowel?
I would want him to do it on every word on this list because it does have, it's mixed what the vowels are. It's not just long A or long O. So I would want him to do it on every single one of these on here. And then if we move into the sentences, probably just scoop.
Okay.
Instead of marking, because hopefully by then he doesn't need to search for the vowel. Hopefully you can just locate it.
Okay.
And mark it like that. Then, and then from there, the guide then on the word sort, I wouldn't expect any scooping or marking.
Okay, so you're really
taking that away because by the time he gets to reading it in a controlled passage, I think he should be able to hopefully apply the rule.
Okay.
And if he's having trouble, then go back. Well, let's look at that word and find the first vowel.
Going back to the word list for just a second, because I know you in your plan had as independent practice. Do you see him as part of that independent practice, not marking by the end of there? Where do you think?
I think that his independent practice should be marking. So the first 2 we'll just do as guided, and then from there I'd like to see him independently take that over for the rest.
Okay. The sentences. Now, is he's going to be reading the sentences as well to you?
Right, I know I didn't put that in my plan, but I think that gives him practice right away applying this to real reading. So yes, as soon as he would be done the word list, so this would be part of the independent practice.
Okay.
So I'll just add that to my lesson so it's more clear.
And that's fine. I think that's a great idea to bring the words into
the word list.
Context of a sentence.
Okay.
Good. And then moving into the text, that rover piece. Tell me a little bit what you're going to have him do. What will that part of the activity look like?
This, I would like him to read it aloud.
Okay.
I did have in my lesson, maybe I'll change it. I did have in my lesson that he'll highlight the words that follow the vowel, consonant, vowel pattern and scoop and mark the syllables. But now that we've been talking about it, I think that depending on how he does on the word lists and the sentences, I might just have him apply it to his reading. If he's having a really difficult time, then I'll go back in and provide those supports. But I think to start out, I think he should be able to, hopefully, read it just with fluency and accuracy.
Okay, good. Good. I like that. So you kind of already mentioned this, but I was just wondering, like, so as he's reading and stuff, if he's having a hard time, well, I guess that's going into the highlighting. If he was having a hard time identifying the vowel, consonant, vowel pattern, what you were going to do to support that and kind of give him
right. So
prompting.
Let's say he is stuck on the word acorns. I would prompt him, okay, that word follows the VCV pattern. So where's your first vowel? Mark it. Where's your first consonant? Mark it. Where's your next vowel? And like then guide him through those steps like I did for the guided practice.
Yes.
And reinforce it. And then maybe that would be for the first one, and then for the second one, say something like, show me how you would mark up that word. So taking those specific prompts away.
Oh, good. Good. So this lesson seems wonderful. How do you think you're going to relate this to other texts that he's reading? I mean, I know because you mentioned before that he's struggling with this.
Right, with the multisyllabic words. I think so as we're reading a novel or an article, when he comes to one of those words and he's having trouble, remind him about it. And then even if there is a word, I can say, hey, what do you notice about that word? If it's at like a natural stopping place. And the kids get excited when they like find a word a pattern we've worked on in their connected reading.
Wonderful. Good. I think this lesson's going to go really well, and I think you have enough support for him, so I can't wait to see it.
So for the data, I would like you to see how much scaffolding I'm actually doing. So as when we get into the the independent practice part, when he starts on this.
Okay, so so starting with the independent
practice
on the word list.
How many times I have to prompt him.
Okay.
So if I am needing to say to him, okay, mark your vowel, where's your next consonant? So I think that could probably either just be like a T chart with like, word number 1, how many prompts, word number 2.
Easy enough.
So,
and you would like me to keep track, like for every time you have to say like, show me the vowel, show me the consonant, where would I scoop it? Where?
Yes.
Okay,
I would count each one of those as a separate prompt.
Okay.
Because maybe he'll just pick up on, once I say, mark your first vowel, maybe then he'll pick up on it. But if I need to keep going through the steps.
Okay. Would you like me to continue that into the sentences, into the text?
Yes. So I think there would be 8 words, 2 sentences, and then I guess we'll just do the text as a total.
Okay.
So it might be like words, sentences, text.
Okay.
Okay.
Wonderful.
All right. Thanks.
All right. Can't wait to see this.